Welcome back to another video, and you can probably see the combine is finally out. These are some oats that are around one of our rented fields next to the farm. But before we go and look at the combine, I thought we would go and have a look at the crops, because we haven't actually really shown you any of the crops since we planted them. Then later on we'll go and have a look at the combine, go in and see how that's all going. I have spoken to Peter. The oats look alright actually, they look nice. They're coming in about 2 ton to the acre, which isn't amazing, and it's not terrible either. Considering what the year's like, we already know crops are going to be down, straw's going to be down, yields are all going to be all over the place. The grain trailers are all being weighed as they come in, so we'll know exactly what we got in the shed when we've finished, and then we can work out the acreage and the acres per ton. The combine will give you a reading as well, and Pete will have that set up. And it was quite accurate last year. It was off by about 5 or 10 tons, so pretty accurate when you're doing 1,700 acres. The grain is coming in at 16%. So tomorrow the farmer will start loading this into the grain dryer. This is a cool machine. This will need its own video, it's too much to talk about there. But basically everything gets loaded in the hopper, it goes up the auger into the dryer, and everything gets lifted up and rotated and dried, and then it all goes out into this barn here. But that's got its own video. We'll get the farmer to talk about that, because that's quite a complicated machine. So let's go and look at some of the crops. Oh, we brought the bulls in. The bulls are in. They've taken away from the herd. They've got to the date now where we don't want them to be serving any more cows, just in case we have any more late arrivals next year. We don't want any of that, so the bulls are in the paddocks. We'll go and have a quick look at those. Norman's here, and Conrad's here, and Musketeer's here as well. Here is Norman. He's a limb bull. He's always huffy and puffy. I don't know what's up with him. You do not want to touch this gate. This gate will electrocute you. You see he's smothered in flies, and so is Conrad. We've got some more buckets. The old man's going to be putting some buckets down here for the bulls. Garlic and salt, that'll take away the flies. We found it works pretty well. I don't know what's up with this guy. He's always huffing and puffing. You put him with the cows, you'll never notice he's there. This old boy, he's a nice quiet bull. It might be his last year if he keeps on like that. The farmer won't have it. If he's not safe to be around, he'll be off down the road. It's a shame, because he's a good looking bull. But they're in their own little paddocks now. They'll stay here until it gets too wet, and then we'll have them in, and they'll go in their little pens when we get the cows in. But they'll be happy in here. They got a nice space. Let's go and have a look at Musketeer. In this one we've got Musketeer, which is the new Chevrolet bull, and he's got a lady friend. He's got a bit of company. He's a good looking bull as well. He's lost a bit of weight, so he must have been doing his job. But all winter they'll fatten up again, get their energy back. Right, we're going to leave him with his girlfriend. So last 3 days we've been topping around the headlands around the field. Basically before the combine comes out, we like to go around, tidy up with all the headlands, but more importantly, this stuff is growing everywhere. Now this is something called ragwort, they tell me, and it's super easy to pull out the floor, but it is very poisonous to horses, and I think it's poisonous to a lot of things actually. But it spreads across the fields, and it spreads like, you know, wildfire. That's what we've been doing the last 3 days, is tackling that, and it's everywhere. I've been on the topper, young Andrew's been on the hedge cutter, and Keithy's been on the hedge cutter as well, and they're doing down the verges. We're not allowed to touch the hedges for obvious reasons, nesting birds, things like that. There's a season for hedge trimming, but you can do the verges and get rid of all the ragwort. You don't want it spreading. If it goes to seed and starts spreading, then you end up with a big problem then. We're down in the barley fields, down the back of the farm. This is spring barley. And right, we've got to take you back to when we seeded. We seeded straight into, it started off being ever so wet. We couldn't get on the fields and we were really knocking on last doors of planting. And then we planted and then it didn't rain for, I think it was 7, nearly 8 weeks. It didn't rain. So we already know the crop isn't going to be that good. Spring never does as well as winter because it doesn't have the growing time. To make things worse, we got a lot of weeds in this field as well. Because of the drought, no weeds were growing at the time. And then your crop starts growing, and then in June we had a load of rain, up come the weeds, and now it's not really worth spraying it. If you spray it now, you might knock the yield of the plant. You've got to sum up whether it's worth spraying. It's going to cost some money. We have a guy come out. He goes across the field. He's an agronomist, and he will tell you what's best for your field at that time of year. And although it looks a mess, it's not worth the money spending to spray them off. So there we are. That's what we're at. This is the worst field we got. The one behind me isn't so bad. We're going to put the drone up so you can have a look at all of them. I'll fly across nice and low so you can have a good look at them. But these green plants here, they're going to push the moisture up, and that's no good for the combine. They're going to give us mixed results when we come to test. So the farmer sprays them all off. They'll all die. Everything will die. Then the combine can combine it easy. As we get the yields and stuff, we will let you know what we got, because I think it's quite important to share information like that. I don't know if other farmers do that willingly or not, but I mean, it doesn't really matter what you got. What you got is what you got, and I think it's interesting to know what other farmers got in different areas and things like that. So the farmer has said I can tell you all the yields and the weights and how many tons we got for the year, and we can compare that to last year, and we compare it as the years go on as well. Okay, we are now standing in some of the spring wheat, and we are actually pretty happy with this. The agronomist tells us it was some of the best established spring wheat he'd seen. Well, in fact, he said it was the best established spring wheat he'd seen. It's sitting a lot taller. I don't know why. But we are relatively happy with this. It does look a little bit on the thin side, I think. Like I said, I haven't got much experience, but the farmer tells me he's pretty happy with it. You can see again, we got green stalks, we got some on the turn, but on the whole, I mean, this was the main issue. Look, this plant has only got 2 tillers. Normally a wheat plant I think you'd have 4, you'd hope for 5, maybe even 6 tillers. And a tiller is, you know, where it spouts off. You got 2 there, there's 1 there, 2 tillers, and you got 2 heads. You got 1 on the shorter side, 1 on the a little bit longer there. but we're relatively happy with this, and it's across the board. The first field there got a little bit of weed in it, should have been sprayed, didn't, but on the whole we're pretty happy. We don't know what it's going to do, we don't know what it's going to yield yet, but it looks the best out of what we've got, and it's actually quite tall. It's taller than I thought it was. I mean, it should really be up to your waist, but we're only a foot, you know, it's a foot shorter than it should be, let's say. Let's put the drone up, we'll have a closer look around the field. We had 2 separate drills here as well. So first field was drilled with the combination drill, Peter's drill, which is just a weaving tine drill. That was here as well. We'll get a rough idea how they perform. But yeah, this isn't looking too bad. We're quite happy with this, and I thought it looked okay from the side, but you don't really get a true look at it until you walk into the crop and see what you got. We know it's not going to be, we know the yields aren't going to be there, we already know that, but we had a nice rain in June, so we're hoping that the ears, what is there, the ears have filled out and given us a nice big grain. Let me just rub some together and see if I can get you a picture of one. So I know it's not much to look at, but that is the grain, and they're looking really well actually, nice and plump. Farmer tells me while the plant is green, they're filling out. Once they start turning yellow, like some of these, that is it. That's the seed growing process finished, and that's when the seed starts to ripen then. But you can see those seeds are still very green, and that's came off one of the riper plants there. So there is still a long way off. Those seeds will be soft as anything. Yeah, you can always tell when wheat's ready. You should be able to bite it, and it should be hard in your teeth before it's ready. But the grain size looks pretty well. So we will have to just see how that does. That will be. We're still 3 weeks at least from wheat, I'd have thought, before we start wheat, maybe. Depends on the area. We might have some areas that are ready to go before this one. But pretty pleased. We're going to get the drone up, have a look, and have a look from the air. So we are over at John's. When we're in a specific area, I will just say the name of the area by the name of the person who owns it. If we're at home, I'll say we're at home. I won't say their last name, and I won't ever tell anyone where we are, just for privacy and all that sort of thing. But this is rented ground, it's John's, it's right next to the farm. And Peter's already been through here with the combine already. I can see straw is a little damp, but that'll sit out for a few days. We got some hot days coming in. We got a week of high temperatures, so 25 plus. I think they're talking of some days of 30. We need to get this combine rolling as much as we can for as long as we can, because who knows when it's going to rain again. We've got a lot to combine in a short amount of time. So what we'll do with the seed here, Peter said it's about 16%, so the seed will go off to be dried tomorrow. But tomorrow when the sun comes out, that should it will make a hell of a difference. As soon as you get them high temperatures, everything's going to change, and it'll be fine. So back at the farm, we've got a big empty shed. It's not going to go wasted. We are going to fill it with straw, and instead of hay being in there, we're gonna literally bale everything that comes out the combine and fill the barn up with straw. So we're just going to walk into the field that Peter's combining. We're actually pretty pleased with the oats, considering the year. I mean, they're standing pretty tall. They are thin on the ground, but all year they've actually looked pretty well. And I think to get 2 tonne an acre, we'd be well, it's probably about as good as it's going to get this year, I think. They're a little bit different over the way, and we'll go there last. What we'll do is just watch the combine for a little bit, because he'll be finished here and he'll probably put the combine away. The dew will start setting in, the moisture will come right up, and then it really isn't worth drying then. It takes a lot of drying and it costs a lot of money to dry it. We will go over to our oats, because these are on rented land, so we'll go and have a look at those last. That'll be the last thing we look at. We should see Uncle Franklin in a minute. He's running on the grain cart. I've only got one grain cart running because we're so close to the farm. So you can see behind me the combine lights are flashing. That tells anybody who's on the grain cart to get a shift on. It's nearly full. Usually when the lights start flashing, that means the combine's 3/4 full. It gives you 5 minutes to get up there with the grain cart. But Peter won't be sat. He'll have a sensor in his cab which will tell him when it's completely full. Then he'll stop, open his spout. Uncle Franklin will pull up alongside him and they can unload and carry on combining at the same time. He won't stop because Peter wants him over there. He's on the loader tractor. Uncle Franklin runs grain cart for us all through the day, and then someone will take over from him at the end of the day when it goes into the night. Try not to get my legs torn off. Peter! We are on the combine. Yes. How's it going?
Yeah, going good. No problem.
No?
No problem.
Has the moisture come down, or is it
Yeah,
still the same?
it's come back down. It's about 14 now.
Oh, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
What did it start off at?
16.
And then the sun comes out and that knocked it down, did it?
Yeah, but the straw's still wet. But
Is it? Will the straw dry if you leave it in the row?
yeah, it'll dry.
Yeah.
Once it's been cut, it soon dries.
It's quite tall, this stuff, isn't it?
Down that end, it's much taller than there.
Is it?
Yeah.
What's the yield like then, Pete? What are we saying?
It's just over 2 tonnes to the acre.
Well, according.
Where are we? 5.9 to the hectare. So just over 2 tonnes to the acre.
Do you just know that by heart?
Huh?
Do you just know that? Yeah. But do you know the acre bit by?
They just convert it round. 5 is 2 tonnes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, that's not bad then. Is that better than what you was expecting? Or?
Well, we're expecting about 2.
Yeah.
Anything over 2 is a bonus.
Look at that sunshine coming in.
Yeah.
I love this time of night. It's the best time.
Jump to see through the glass when it's dusty and the sun shines through.
Yeah. But you're glad to get going then, yeah?
Well, not a lot to go at, so sooner we start, sooner we can finish.
Yeah. So what is the time? Will you just finish after you've done this field, or will you keep going?
I think Aggie's coming to take over from me when I finish.
And where do you stop moisturise? Where does it get too much? So the dew will come in, won't it, when the sun goes down?
It will, but it probably won't affect this till, well, late on, midnight time.
Oh, right.
Probably.
But what sort of moisture would you stop at?
Well, you'd have to ask the boss what he's prepared to dry it down from.
Oh, right. Usually...
I mean, if you don't want to go above 16, 17, really.
No. Oh, sweet. Right, we'll stay on till he unloads and watch him unload from the cab. But it's so slow that as soon as you press the button, it locks it. Pete's showing us his new camera look. So, what are you going to use that for?
It's just so that I can see what's going on behind the combine, and when I'm on the road I can see if a car's right up close behind me, because sometimes they do, and reversing in on the corners. These
combines should come with that, shouldn't they?
Well, some do. Some do now, but this one didn't.
It should be a standard thing though, shouldn't it? A massive vehicle.
Oh yeah, you can see, all you can see is the sides of your combine in the mirror. You can't actually see the back.
No.
Press that, auger's coming out.
Oh, it's coming out. So do your lights come on as soon as that says 3/4 full?
Yeah.
Will you fill it to the top every time, or you try and unfill it?
Well, if the trailer's not back, I'd fill it right to the top, but if we unload on the go, there's no need to.
Here comes Uncle Franklin. He is the master. Right, Pete, whose job is it to fill the trailer? Yours or the trailer man?
Trailer man.
Alright. No excuses.
Well, I can't really move sideways. I can just drive a straight line. I can speed up a little bit.
If I'm on the trailer, I will apologise already, because I know I'll get it wrong. We did have a go last year, didn't we?
Yes, but we lost so much corn that we abandoned you.
Yeah. So that yellow chute makes a difference on here, because the grain's quite light.
Yeah, if it was a windy day, it would blow away.
Yeah.
Well,
it's coming out of there quite fast, isn't it? Look at that, he's a master, isn't he? Done it before. Oh my god, I don't think I could do it that good. Is it you filling them?
That's me speeding up.
Do you need to see what you're doing? Look at that. So now Uncle Franklin will now take that back to the farm. Go and tip it.
Weigh it first.
Oh, he weighs it first. Weighs every load. Then we know what we got in the shed. So we left last night where we were over at the combine. Got a bit late, it was starting to get dark, so we called it a day there. But these are our fields. We're over at my favourite spot on the hill. You can see the 3 fields behind me, and right in the background there you can see the farm. On the other side is the Barley where we were. You would have seen that first off, I think. But before we go any further, I want to just give a couple of shout outs to a few more channels. I like doing this because you know, these people are working hard, and I think they deserve a few more subscribers. So the first one is a guy called Tom Wellingborough. Does a lot of drone shots with music, really nice work. I think it may even be better than my work, but really smart. The old boy's got a really good eye for a good shot, and I love watching his videos, easy to watch. So go and check out Tom Wellingborough. The next one is a guy called James Pugh. This is another guy with a really good set of drone skills. These guys are absolutely on top of their game with the drones, so head over to their channels and check those guys out. And the last but not least, I've got to give this guy a big shout out as well. Farmer P, go over to his channel. He makes a lot of content, and it's a story of his farm and how it's going, and I haven't had a lot of time to watch it myself at the moment, but come winter time I'm going to catch up on his channel. But yeah, Farmer P, Tom Wellingborough, James Pugh, go and check them out. And right, let's get back to what we were doing. So we are in the oats. Now, we were over at John's farm, right next to the farm yesterday, and the oats were a little bit taller actually. They're not quite so tall in this field, and they're a little bit lighter in colour. But the combine will shortly be over here combining these up. Now, I think the ones over at John's had a little bit of what they call rust, which is a disease in the plant, which makes it look a little bit more darker in colour. So we don't know what these are going to yield yet until the combine comes in. But at the end of the season we'll give you a total of everything, what they yielded and how they did. But you can just see here the plants really struggled in the drought. They should be a little bit taller than that really, and the farmers sprayed them off because there were a lot of green plants. But we got some high temperatures coming in now, so hopefully that should get the job going a bit. We'll just put the drone up. We've got one field to the left hand side of us here as well. We'll go and have a look with the drone over there. It's pretty much similar though. All four fields are pretty similar condition. And yeah, we'll put the drone up and have a little look over them. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. That's going to be the end of the video there. We're not expecting massive yields here. We haven't spent a lot of money on sprays this year. Yeah, we'll just have to see how they do. The combine will probably be in these fields today, so I'll let you know in the next video how they got on. We're not really bothered on people knowing what yields we got, we're going to be honest. It's the year of hell this year, so it's going to be interesting down the road, and I want to document it as well for future watching, when we watch back in a couple of years time and we look back on this year and we think, oh my god, wow, it couldn't have been that bad, or it was really that bad. But that's the end of the video anyway. We will start harvest videos now. Peter's going to be non-stop with the combine. That is literally going to be going constantly now for the next 4 to 6 weeks, I'd have thought, if he can get on. Weather dependent, obviously. We're going to be baling a lot of straw, so it's going to be super busy, super late nights. Combine will be going right into the night until we literally can't combine no more. It's going to be pretty exciting. It's my first full-time harvest, so all fresh at the moment, so I can imagine at the end of it we're all going to be a bit tired and a bit grumpy, but it'll be all right. It's what we do, it's what we love, so yeah, it's going to be good. Remember to check out those channels I mentioned, and we will catch you on the next one. Cheers.